Welcome to our college briefing show. Today, we're diving into the latest buzz about international students in the US. They're feeling pretty anxious with all the visa revocations and strict immigration crackdowns. Since March, over 1,200 students have had their visas revoked or terminated, prompting many to cancel their summer plans or even leave the US voluntarily. This tense situation could shake up the international student scene at American colleges, which heavily relies on tuition from abroad. Stay tuned as we explore what this means for future students. Next up, let's talk about China's rising technocratic elite. Nearly half of China's youngest officials now hold PhDs from top universities like Tsinghua, emphasizing technical expertise over political connections. This meritocratic approach is fueling rapid innovation, especially in tech sectors like semiconductors. Meanwhile, the US continues to be led mainly by lawyers and career politicians, with fewer engineers in government roles. It's a fascinating contrast that highlights two very different governance styles, long-term competence versus private sector charisma. More on how this shift could influence global tech rivalry coming right up. And finally, after 50 years of strict dress codes rooted in Thailand's conservative, military-influenced society, the court has declared those rules unconstitutional. Students can now express themselves more freely, marking a huge victory for personal rights. This change follows nationwide protests and acts of rebellion, like shaving hair or hanging uniforms outside government buildings. While some worry about lingering authoritarian influences, many see this as a step toward greater student freedom and social progress. Please continue to watch for more details. The Toronto Star vividly portrays the chilling atmosphere faced by international students in the United States amidst a stringent immigration crackdown. An unnamed student from UC San Diego, initially planning a trip to Hawaii, suddenly finds the idea of travel too risky after witnessing the wave of visa terminations and deportations targeting students involved in activism or minor infractions. With over 4,700 students potentially affected, many are forced into hiding or leaving the country without clear reasons, fearing they might not be able to return. The uncertainty has led to a climate of paranoia, with students and university staff struggling to navigate ever-changing policies, and many feeling that their pursuit of the American dream is slipping away as the government's actions cast a long shadow of fear and vulnerability over their lives. The South China Morning Post offers a compelling glimpse into China's emerging technocratic elite, revealing a society increasingly governed by highly educated professionals with advanced degrees from top universities like Tsinghua, Stanford, and Peking University. This shift signifies a philosophical move away from traditional political patronage toward a meritocratic system where competence and technical expertise are paramount. Historically rooted in the revered scholar-official tradition, China's modern technocrats now lead in government, state-owned enterprises, and military sectors, shaping policies through systems engineering and data-driven governance. This contrasts sharply with the United States, where political and legal backgrounds dominate leadership, and where elite universities are criticized for inefficiency and administrative bloat. China's focus on embedding intelligence into its governance infrastructure aims to foster a responsive, strategic state capable of rapid innovation, highlighting a fundamental divergence in governance paradigms, long-term optimization versus short-term political gains. The Toronto Star further details the emotional toll of America's immigration policies on Iranian students like Sama Ibrahimi Bajghani and Alireza Daruti, whose lives are abruptly upended when Daruti is detained without clear explanation. Despite entering legally and adhering to visa regulations, Daruti's visa was revoked, and he now faces deportation, leaving his partner in a state of constant anxiety. The fear permeates the Iranian community at the University of Alabama, where students are advised to remain invisible and avoid unnecessary interactions with authorities. The situation underscores a broader pattern of over 1,000 international students experiencing visa revocations and detentions since late March, often without evidence or fair process. As these students grapple with the loss of stability and safety, their stories reflect a broader climate of fear and uncertainty fueled by aggressive immigration enforcement, transforming what should be a pursuit of education into a perilous gamble with their futures and identities at stake. Cincinnati Enquirer reports a tragic and complex chain of events unfolding in Cincinnati, Ohio, where a police chase and a subsequent shooting culminated in the death of 18-year-old Ryan Hinton. Hinton was suspected of stealing a vehicle from northern Kentucky and was pursued by officers through the city, during which he was armed and shot at police. Body camera footage reveals a tense 6-second encounter where officers fired multiple rounds, hitting Hinton, who was armed with a gun and magazines. Despite police claims of self-defense, questions linger about whether Hinton fired his weapon. The incident underscores the perilous split-second decisions officers must make in high-stakes situations, often with tragic consequences, as authorities emphasize the dangers of fleeing armed suspects and the necessity of immediate action to prevent further harm. The Independent details the heartbreaking aftermath of this violent episode, focusing on the death of a Cincinnati deputy who was struck and killed by a vehicle operated by Rodney Hinton Jr., the father of the slain teen. The deputy, a retired officer working as a special deputy, was directing traffic near the University of Cincinnati when Hinton Jr. allegedly hit him with his car. The deputy's death has sent shockwaves through the community, with law enforcement agencies mourning the loss of a beloved officer. Hinton Jr. has been charged with aggravated murder, and his arrest marks a tragic culmination of a day filled with violence and loss. The incident highlights the profound toll such events take on families and communities, illustrating how a single day can ripple with grief and tragedy. Meanwhile, in other related developments, the suspects involved in the initial stolen vehicle incident, including Jurel Austin and DeAnthony Bullocks, face charges of receiving stolen property and obstructing justice. The ongoing investigation continues to unravel the layers of this multifaceted tragedy, where youthful recklessness, gunfire, and a father's devastating actions converge. The community now faces the painful task of healing amid the sorrow, as authorities prepare to honor the fallen officer and seek justice for all those affected. This series of events paints a stark picture of violence spiraling out of control, with lives forever altered in a matter of moments. CNN reports on the remarkable recovery of Kayvon Markwood, the young fan who fell onto the field at PNC Park, Pittsburgh. Miraculously, Kayvon, now 20, is awake, alert, and making progress after the critical incident during a game between the Chicago Cubs and Pirates. His family and supporters have rallied around him, raising over $27,000 to aid his recovery, while his girlfriend Alana Brown and mother Jennifer Phillips share heartfelt updates emphasizing his resilience and the hope that sustains them. Markwood's story is a testament to human strength, as he transitions from a traumatic fall to a phase of healing, with his high school and college football background highlighting his character, resilient, kind, and courageous, traits that continue to inspire those following his journey. South China Morning Post paints a poignant picture of climate change's devastating impact on Indonesian clove farmers, particularly on the island of Ternate. Once protected from colonial efforts to eradicate their crops, local farmers like Jauhar Mahmud now face an uncertain future as erratic weather patterns, intensified by global warming, threaten their livelihoods. Heavy rains, droughts, and unpredictable harvest seasons have drastically reduced yields, with some farmers losing money and contemplating abandoning their crops. The fragrant cloves, vital for spices, medicines, and perfumes, are increasingly difficult to produce due to climate-induced fluctuations in temperature and humidity, which affect flowering and drying processes. Despite these hardships, the farmers cling to their heritage and emotional ties to clove cultivation, urging wealthy nations to recognize and address the climate crisis that jeopardizes their traditional way of life. The South China Morning Post further explores the grim reality of child filicide in Hong Kong, revealing that 2/3 of cases over 15 years involved mothers, many suffering from mental illnesses such as depression and psychosis. The study underscores the urgent need for enhanced social support for vulnerable parents, especially young and single mothers, and highlights the complex factors, mental health issues, economic struggles, and societal pressures that contribute to such tragedies. Researchers emphasize the importance of early intervention, mental health awareness, and community-based services to prevent future incidents. The report also calls for policy changes like extended paternity leave and increased education to foster healthier family environments, stressing that timely support and destigmatization are crucial to safeguarding children and assisting at-risk parents in Hong Kong. The CNN article vividly recounts the long-standing tradition of strict hair regulations in Thai schools, a legacy rooted in Thailand's conservative, hierarchical society and military influence. It highlights the story of Khao Klong, who was publicly shamed and partially shaved for having hair just over the prescribed length, illustrating the intense discipline and conformity enforced over decades. These rules, initially designed to cultivate responsible citizens and uphold social norms, were reinforced by authoritarian military regimes and strict discipline practices, including physical punishments. However, recent protests by students and a landmark court ruling have challenged this authoritarian legacy, declaring the rules unconstitutional and emphasizing personal freedom and mental health. The court decision signals a significant shift, though concerns remain about inconsistent enforcement and lingering authoritarian attitudes in schools, with former student activists like Cao Klong hopeful for broader discussions on rights and freedoms in education. The Yahoo US report introduces Natalie Ettinger, a high-achieving senior at Sterling High School, whose engaging personality and academic pursuits exemplify the positive side of student life. It details her plans to major in microbiology at the University of Iowa and her involvement in extracurricular activities such as volunteering with Special Olympics and working as a CNA. Her memorable experiences, including a school trip to see cadavers, inspire her ambition to become a pediatric cardiologist. The article underscores her dedication to learning and community service, portraying her as a model student with a bright future. This personal portrait highlights the importance of nurturing student talents and aspirations, emphasizing how engaging classes and meaningful activities can shape students' ambitions and prepare them for future success. The Globe and Mail's coverage shifts focus to the political landscape, depicting a rally in Alberta where hundreds of residents support secession from Canada. The protest reflects deep frustrations over perceived neglect and energy policy disagreements, especially in the context of recent Liberal election victories and federal policies that many in Alberta see as detrimental to their interests. Participants express feelings of alienation, citing issues like pipeline disputes and economic marginalization, with some advocating for independence based on resource wealth and political grievances. Indigenous leaders and counter-protesters emphasize the importance of respecting treaties and constitutional frameworks, warning that secession could threaten Indigenous rights and national unity. Premier Danielle Smith's nuanced stance, supporting Alberta's sovereignty within Canada, illustrates the complex tensions between regional identity, economic interests, and national cohesion, highlighting a province at a crossroads amid rising calls for independence. The Houston Chronicle vividly recounts Jake Meyers' extraordinary day at the plate, where he achieved a career-high 7 RBIs and matched a franchise record with 13 total bases during an 8-3 victory over the White Sox. Meyers, batting ninth, went a perfect 4 for 4, homering twice and scoring 3 times, igniting the Astros' offense in Chicago. His impressive performance was fueled by keen eye and hard work, with manager Joe Espada praising his ability to see the ball well and capitalize on pitches. Meyers' day was particularly meaningful as he stepped in for Yordan Alvarez, hitting his first homer of the season and delivering a clutch 3-run shot that put Houston ahead for good. His triple and subsequent double further showcased his offensive prowess, leaving him unaware of the team record he was approaching, highlighting the pure joy and adrenaline of a standout game. Meanwhile, the BBC provides a detailed analysis of Reform's remarkable success in local elections across England, emphasizing that their performance was more than just a protest vote. Despite only garnering about 31% of the overall vote, Reform secured 41% of contested council seats, winning control of multiple councils and outperforming traditional parties like the Conservatives and Labour. Their support was notably concentrated in areas that voted heavily for Brexit, with support strongest among working-class, less educated, and pro-Leave communities, especially in regions like Durham, Staffordshire, and Kent. The party's ability to cluster votes under the first-past-the-post system allowed it to dominate in key districts, while its influence was less pronounced in more educated, Remain-leaning, and diverse wards. This electoral pattern underscores a shifting political landscape driven by Brexit sentiments and socio-economic divides, suggesting that Reform's gains are rooted in deep-seated regional and cultural allegiances rather than fleeting protest votes. The Yahoo US article starkly details the disturbing case of Jacob Enrique, a staff member at Emmanuel College, who was arrested for attempting to solicit underage students for sex. Enrique, 29, exploited his position as assistant admissions director to access personal information of prospective students, including a 17-year-old girl, whom he targeted with offers of money and explicit material. Over several days, Enrique relentlessly pursued the girl through texts, emails, and social media, sending her pornographic videos and propositions for sex acts, including disturbing suggestions of gangbangs. Despite her repeated rejections, Enrique continued to contact her, demonstrating a calculated and predatory pattern of behavior. His actions culminated in serious charges of attempted sex trafficking of a minor, which carries severe penalties, including the possibility of life imprisonment. The case highlights the sinister abuse of authority and trust, exposing a horrifying breach of safety and ethics within an academic community. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6 Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6 team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6 Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6 Brief via email.
Waking up to wonders, tech and nature blunders. Got our rockets flying while the oceans are sighing. Lasers in the sky now, holograms we say.